Assalamualaikum, hai, apa khabar semua followers Harimau Malaya? Sihat semua? Yes! Lama rasanya kita tak berpodcast ni, Syam.
Last dengan badminton.
Minggu lepas, 2 minggu lepas
2
kan?
minggu lepas.
So hari ni kita, sebab jarang-jarang kita akan bawa yang terbaik lah. You all dah nampak dah. So kita bagi peluang Syam. Kenalkan siapa tetamu kita hari ni, Syam?
So kita ada pemain KL City yang dah menang Piala Malaysia dengan KL City, dah sampai final AFC Cup dalam sejarah KL ni. So kita ada Giancarlo Gallifuoco
ataupun lebih dikenali sebagai Gigi.
Gigi ya, nickname. So from Gigi. How are you, Gigi?
I'm very, very good. I feel grateful for being here. So thank you.
First of all, we appreciate you coming to our small studio to doing podcast.
No, thank you for having me. I feel honored. Thank you very much.
So untuk fan kena tahu, Gigi one of the import player yang easy going with the media. Diorang kena tahu benda tu.
Betul. Sebab yelah, setengahnya tak mudah lah kita nak dekati kan. Tapi Gigi dia sangat friendly lah. So first, tell us what are you doing during this off season?
Well, I have done my biggest achievement of my life, which is have my baby girl.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Just 2 days, 3 days.
3 days ago. 3 days ago. Yes. So 3 days I haven't slept. So that's been my off season. I had a little Malaysian baby.
Wow.
Malaysian baby. Can play Malaysian football.
One day, yeah? Alright. So, but team?
Okay, what's your overall for the 2022?
For KL City?
Your
You can
performance.
summarize
Summarize
everything.
all.
If I could summarize the whole year, wow, man, it was a busy year, especially with AFC. You know, not to make the answer too long, but it was a year where the whole year, with the FA and the league and the Malaysia Cup, because of the AFC, you always had one leg somewhere else, you know.
Need to travel, right?
Yeah, you know, and it was difficult because even in the league, as much as it's important, we just had our brain on AFC so much. We were so obsessed the whole preseason. It's all we talked about the whole year. It's all we talked about. And I remember, you know, sitting with Paolo, Akram, and Kenny, and I was saying, you know, fingers crossed if we work really hard and we get some luck, we'll get out of the group stage. And then from the group stage, you know. So if I had to summarize the whole year, KL City's not the biggest club. We want to be in a top 6. That's what we want consistently, for fans to come and know that we perform well and we're competing. So for that, I was happy. And then to be AFC runners up was like a dream come true. A dream come true.
Before we go further about your career, maybe fans want to know about your career, your start,
Your beginning.
how you start
Okay.
to be playing football.
Okay.
Playing football.
Well, I'm sure you know from my name that I'm very Italian.
Yeah.
So there was no option in my household, you know. It's food and football.
Okay.
So my dad used to play in Italy, in the lower division, 3rd division. So when I was born, older brother, dad, Italian family, football all the time, 24/7, you know. And it's just what I always wanted to be. I always wanted to be a footballer. I always admired my dad, and you know, my cousins and my mom would tell me stories. Oh, he scored this goal, or he played like this. So that was always my dream. And fortunately, my mom and dad really, really helped me with my dream. They helped me facilitate. You know, my dad would always kind of joke, you know, if it was homework or something like this, you could put it to the side if it was for football. So I'm very, very lucky. But my childhood, my start to football was just my dad working really, really hard and just dreaming every day.
Who is your idol growing up?
Other than my dad, Maradona.
Oh, Napoli, right?
Of
Napoli,
course,
right?
Yeah.
Alright, so we learned that at the early stage of your career, you've been selected to join academy of Tottenham Hotspur.
Yes.
So tell us about it.
Oh, okay. A bit of a random story, to be honest. I was playing for the Australian young team, under 17s, and I used to play as a midfield or as an attacker.
Oh.
So I used to play further up the field.
Ah.
And I played in a game. I scored 2 goals, and I got this trial in Italy. So I was 17 years old. I had all my money saved, you know, from working and everything. And I fly to Italy, and I go to this team, and it was Torino.
Torino,
They
yeah.
were in the 2nd division at the time. So I'm there for a month. I'm trialing, and you know, running out of money. And the guy says to me, "Listen, we can offer you a contract like a scholarship. So we'll give you house and food, and we give you 200 euros a month, just to spend a month." And when I was 17, I was thinking, I'm rich, you know. 200 euros, you know, crazy. So I say yes, you know, and I'm playing, and I'm very, very happy. Then, you know, fate, God, the universe, luck, I don't know. But the first team in December, before they do the Christmas break, they do this thing called an amichevole in Italian. And it's what they do is they let the fans come into the training ground and they play a game. So they call me up for the game, 2 or 3 players from the reserves youth squad. And they say, hey, we need you to make the numbers. We're going to play a game in front of everybody. Very luckily, I play good. And I do this one pass that scored the assist for the goal. And the newspaper says right at the front, Torino have secret reinforcement from Australia. I play a photo of me with a fringe, you know, like this. And next day, I get a message on my Facebook, and my friend who is at Tottenham Hotspur says, "Hey, my technical director, he wants your number." And then my life changed.
So you get offer from Tottenham during 17 years old.
Yeah.
So what makes you choose to go there? What's
the technical director is Tim Sherwood. He calls me, and he says,
okay.
Tim Sherwood, yeah. And he says, when is your contract ending? I said, I'm on a scholarship, so whenever you want it to end. And he says, okay, I see you have a future. We want to offer you a contract. And to be honest, because I was so nervous, so shy, 17, you know, I had just gone to the first team. So I call my dad and I say, Dad, you know, I don't know what to do. This club is so big. And I remember my dad saying to me, think about what you're going to be having this conversation with yourself 20 years from now. And think if every day you thought, why did I turn down this opportunity? Why did I say no? What could have happened, you know? So I call them back. I say yes. They send me 2 plane tickets. They speak to Torino. And before my 18th birthday, I signed for Tottenham Hotspur.
So, and we learned that you have a kind of, what you can say, bad memory with Luka Modric.
I heard that I heard one podcast you with Kish that you story about Luka Modric. Maybe
bad memory? Okay. maybe more like education.
Education. Positively, education.
He taught me a lot of lessons. You know? But the first day I get there, Harry Redknapp says, you know, shake my hand, get into training. And I get into training, and me, Tom Carroll, and Massimo Luongo is the 3 center midfield. On the other side is Modric, Giovanni Dos Santos, and Cruncher.
Whoa!
And maybe I run 25 kilometers, bro. I don't touch the ball like this. And he just pop, 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 pop. And I came off the field, called my dad. I say, Dad, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to touch the ball. They're too good. They're too fast. They're too strong. But it was good. I'm grateful for that lesson.
Well, at first, when you arrive at Tottenham Hotspur, who is the one impressed you the most?
Okay. Well, when I first signed, the first 6 months was just before Modric left, Cruncher, all those people. So if I have to say the most amazing person in training, because I was always versing Modric, it was usually him. And then probably Adebayor.
Oh, that time Adebayor.
At that time, Adebayor was there, and we grew quite close, me and him. So I trained a lot with him. I spent a lot of time with him, and he was so tall, so fast, so good with his feet, so agile. It seemed like, you know, in football, if you're lucky, you have one thing. You can be fast, or you can be strong, or you can be technical.
Yeah.
He had everything. He had everything. You know, so he was so impressive for me to watch day in, day out. So at the beginning it was them, and then the second year started Gareth Bale. And then I watched this little skinny Welsh kid who don't want to talk become the biggest superstar in the world, bro. The biggest every time he touched the ball, you thought he was gonna score. He was gonna score. Too fast, too strong. He was confident. So for me, that was the most memorable thing to watch happen. You know, to watch someone really ascend to not just a good player, not just a good player for the team, one of the best players in the world. You know, and every day on the news they're saying Real Madrid, AC Milan, Chelsea, about the guy I sit right next to, I have eggs with. You know, that was the most incredible thing to watch. So I probably have to say him.
Because I am Arsenal fan,
right?
So do you really feel the rivalry of Arsenal and Tottenham during the derby match?
Yes. So we played the second year I was there. They started like the under 21s league, so it was kind of like the reserve league. And I fly my mum and dad over, and my mum is an angel. She doesn't really understand the football rivalries. You know, she's loves everybody, wants to help everybody, and she comes to her first game, and I'm playing Tottenham v Arsenal, reserve versus reserve at a stadium, so 10,000 tickets, big rivalry, you know. So she comes, she's wearing my Tottenham jacket, like a little cutie. And she walks to the wrong entrance. And as she walks in about 5 meters, she starts thinking, oh, I can feel, you know, a bit of, and the security guard runs over, oh, miss, you have to go the other side. She's saying, what's wrong? No, my son is playing. He said, if I let you walk all the way over there, they're gonna kill me. If you wear that jacket, you have to go out, and you have to go outside the stadium to the other side. So even at that level, the rivalry is so deep in their blood, you know.
Whoa.
Their dad's dad, their dad's dad.
Whoa.
They all have it in their veins, you know. Crazy, man.
So during that, you in Tottenham, what's the difference between maybe senior player and junior player? Maybe have a gap, or senior player maybe like a friendly.
Yeah, I would say, and I think this is in a lot of professions, but I would say it's not so much talent, because there's a lot of great players who don't make it, and there's some average players who do make it. I think it's a lot about your brain, you know. Like I say, for example, Adebayor. In the same team, there was some upcoming players. You won't know them, but they're called like Dean Parrott, John Bostock. These guys were supposed to be England's next superstar, but you need to have determination and resilience, but you also need to have confidence. So when your coach or a journalist or people on the internet say, hey, you played bad today, you have to get up and go again and go again and go again. And that to me is the major difference. And I say this even against myself, you know. When I first came to England, I was soft, young. If you said I trained bad, I would be so sad about it, you know, because I want to try my best. And I had to learn that you have to be able to be really thick-skinned, you know. You have to be ready. And even sometimes when I try to help the players at KL, the younger players who I want to see do well, you know, Hakimi, Azri, and I want to help them. I say all the time, the most important thing is to learn the lesson, but stay confident. If you're you know, Boyan can scream, and you take what he says, learn, but doesn't mean you're a bad player. Doesn't mean you have to worry. Doesn't mean you have to don't want the ball anymore. And for me, that's the major difference between reserve to first team. Carl Walker could make a mistake 99 times and walk straight back up and try again, and now look at the career that he's had. You know?
Wow. So after 2 years, you with Tottenham, right? So you move to Swansea.
Yes.
Maybe you can share about the journey.
Okay. So I go from 2.5 seasons I'm at Tottenham, and I'm playing with the Australian national team. So I'm playing under 21s, under 23s, and then I'm trying to get closer to the first team. So at the time I had an agent, an English agent, and he just said to me, listen, Swansea have been watching you play for the reserve league. They want you to come, and they want you to be the backup for Ashley Williams.
Oh,
So for me, it made perfect sense. You know, I was closer. Whereas at Tottenham, we had 50, 60 players, all very, very good, all very, very talented, you know. And you also have to be honest with yourself, you know. I like to think I'm a good player, but I won't say I deserve to play for Barcelona, you know. So I was saying, okay, maybe I have a better shot there, maybe I have a better chance. So that was my push. Tottenham came up to me and they said, we want to extend one more contract, but we can't assure you're going to train with the first team every day, play. And Swansea was pushing for me to be with the first team. So it made perfect sense to me, and we pushed to go there. And then as soon as I went there, we started to have a bit of success, the first team. So at the beginning, I started to say, hey, Giancarlo, Gigi, you're doing well, but we can't change if the team's doing well. And then there was 1 month, and then 2 months, and then 3 months. And I understand, you know, he was a new coach. It was Gary Monk at the time. So it was his first job, you know. You're trying to balance. You don't have it's not like Jose Mourinho who could drop Ronaldo if he wanted to, because he's Jose Mourinho. So in the end, as much as I loved my time there, I can say I was at 2 Premier League clubs, something that I'm so grateful to say. But I don't think it was the smartest move for me. Because if I had gone maybe lower, I would have played more. But I just wanted so badly to play in the Premier League. And so I went there, and I could see from every month I was getting further and further away. You know, I could feel I wasn't in the plan. So that's how that ended, unfortunately. But grateful.
What I want to know is, in the EPL, right, the competition is so high, right? So among the teammates, they have time to encourage others, to help others, because they have to think about themselves first.
Yeah, and I think from my experiences, not really, man, not really. You know, we were talking off camera, and I was telling you about the atmosphere in KL. That was one thing that was a big shock for me. You know, I think everybody knows, or anyone who has met me or knows me on social media, even if you're someone who plays for another team or a rival or something, I want everybody to do well, you know. I want players in my change room to do well. I want, you know, even players I know from Johor, if they verse me and they beat me, I'll be the first one to come up to them and say, hey, you played great today. That's the kind of person that I am. I think that's how it is. So when I first came to the UK, that was a really big shock for me, because we would be in the same change room, but he knows that I'm competing with you to play. So we would be in the change room and no one would talk. I want to smash you. We come out to training and they would bang, bang, every day, boom, 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 boom. And it was trying to think of a better word than shock, but it was kind of like a trauma. I was like, oh, I was just talking to you out there, now you come here, you want to break my legs, you know? But that's the environment there.
The culture.
The culture is eat or be eaten, you know? And that's one thing about Premier League that must be so hard as a coach to manage. But as a young player coming from Australia, love everybody, peace and love. that was a big surprise for me.
Okay, after all with Tottenham, with Swansea, I know, if I'm not mistaken, you professional debut with Melbourne City, right? Melbourne Victory.
Yeah.
Maybe you can tell us about the journey. Maybe Melbourne, and then you come back to England, play to Italy, and come back to Maybe you can share the journey.
Wow, and you know, tap my leg if I speak too long.
No problem.
It's okay. This is all for you.
Even 2 days is okay.
But basically, after the Swansea,
What's makes you go to come back to Australia?
So I'm getting towards the end of the year, and the technical director say, listen, you're doing well in the under 21s. We do well. We're thinking about extending your contract. I say, okay, but am I gonna play in the first team? Because I'm playing against 21-year-olds. I'm not getting better. You know, if you're 21 and you're playing against 21, how am I gonna be ready to play a 29-year-old, 33-year-old striker? And he says, no, it's okay, because they're changing from 21 to 23. So we're gonna want to sign you, and you can play 2 more years in this league. And I'm saying, I can't do that. I'm gonna waste my whole career playing as a reserve. So I speak to my national team coach, and I speak to my agent, and my agent saying, maybe we should go down to League One, maybe we should play. So I go meet with a couple clubs. I go meet with Bradford. They show me the stadium. I'm thinking, okay, maybe this is the right thing for me. Obviously, I'm sure you know, but when you go down there, English football gets nice and rough, you know? So I said, okay, the football's a bit different, but all right, you know, I have to do it. And then it was Australian coach Ens Postacoglu at the time. And Aurelio Vidmar was my coach. And he basically said to me, hey, listen, we think you should come home. We can watch you. We can see you every day. We can see you play every week. And that's kind of the reason for my decision, you know. Like any player, you always dream about being an international, you know. And I took his words, and even though maybe I could have stayed in England, or maybe it was smart, I don't know. Now in hindsight, I don't know, but that's kind of how it happened. So Melbourne Victory offered me a contract. I came back home, I signed, I played. But no disrespect to Australia at all, but it just doesn't have the football culture like I was used to, you know. Being a professional and coming back, I was spending so much time in England. You know, in England I was a reserve player, but I would walk down the street and people knew who I was, or they know what game we played as a reserve player. They knew things about me. They knew everything. Every day, every coffee shop talked football. Every haircut talked football. And I every advertisement, football. And then you go to Australia and it's like rugby, and then cricket, and then swimmer.
Football is not the first one lah.
Football was not the first one, you know. So I go to Melbourne Victory, you know, and and that's one of the biggest clubs in Australia. And it was just a bit of a surprise for me, you know, to play a game and you have a 60,000 seater stadium and there was 2,000 people. And you think, oh, it doesn't, and not 2,000 people who die for the club, you know? So I just missed England a lot. So then I came back, I started playing in the lower leagues, and I was trying to play as many games as I can. And playing in the lower leagues in England is similar to here, to be honest.
Oh.
It's like, you know, if try and think of an example, but you know, KO, we have a small fan base, but every single fan loves the club, dies for the club. You know, you see them after and they know everything about everyone, and they see it in their face how happy they are when you win, or when you draw, you get a point, and that's what lower leagues of England is, you know. These people die for their team. So I started playing there, started trying to get my games, try to play, get more games. And in 2 years, I played almost 100 games. So you rack up a lot. All of a sudden, you go from rookie to veteran, you know? So that was beautiful. And then I had a chance to go back to Italy. So I wanted to satisfy that urge to, you know, play in the motherland, play, you know, where my dad had played. It was close to family. So I shifted to Italy. I played there and signed a 2-year contract. And it was a beautiful experience on the field. But unfortunately, off the field, there was a bit of money problems. So that was the reason why that got cut short. I signed a 2-year contract, and 6 months in, I left. But on the field, I got to be captain. I got to play in front of my family. We were doing good, you know. I played midfield, which is, to be honest, is actually my favorite position. So I was playing right in the middle of the team, you know. My wife loved it. Italian food is so good, so loved that as well. But unfortunately, by the time it came to January, out of 6 months, I had been paid 1 month.
Oh.
So I went to the office and I said, if I have, as much as I love this job, it's my job, you know? So that was why that got cut short, unfortunately, and then back home to Australia.
Okay, let's start to talk about KL.
Okay,
Alright.
lovely.